All right, hi. It's another time to talk about how to manage your money. In the last few sessions, I think we spent quite a lot of time talking about how flexible Fina is. For example, we demonstrated some projection templates in the last week, and a week ago, I think we talked about some other advanced stuff like using formula and other things. Today, let's just come back to a very basic step. Like this is nearly almost everyone needs to do, right? So you connect your accounts, you set up your profiles. Like me, I separate my investment, my personal, daily transactions into different profile. My, multiple business, they have different setup. And the first step usually when I log into the system is I want to look at my transactions and see what is happening, like what kind of transactions we have been made. Is there anything wrong? Do I have questions about them? Should I set up a new rule to classify them? Like these kind of questions. So first thing first, before I you know make this screen bigger, I want to show you this icon. For every single profile you can actually set up something here. So just want to draw your attention. You can rename your profile name here, and you can enable transaction review. If you are not enable this, basically you don't have this function when you score in the list. Instead, it becomes a status icon for you to just view them. Two buttons are very important. You probably just use it once when you turn it on, turn it off. When you turn it on, you can mark all the transactions in your data as unreviewed. Basically means reset them. You want to review them again one by one, or you just want to ignore all the data so far, and you can set all of them as reviewed. So this is like just a one-time thing. You set them all, and of course, this is about the setup. About you take the snapshot of the profile. So we're not talking about this in this time because we already covered in the previous video. Okay, just talking about this, and then I can collapse this panel because this makes screen bigger. All right. So when we focus on the transactions, you can see the very important filter. Why it's outstanding here is because it's important, right? You have the time scope filter, which defines like what transactions you display for, right? So here we are display for current months. As you can see, current months actually it's the whole month. It's not like what we are today. It's November 14th. So you will see also some transactions which it's projected, like upcoming, like subscriptions is going to happen. So you can see those icons here, right? If I want to see the transactions that's just already happened, how do I do that? You can basically just like click this and turn this on like till today, or you can just like modify this by yourself, right? Till today. That's it. All the future transactions will be go, and this is really what happened, right? Talking about the time filter, it's a very critical component. I think we are doing very well with this time component, so it's worth to mention that like you have a lot of shortcuts here. People may wondering why do you have like future? Yeah, it's used across the board. In the page, you can build in future projections forecasting. That's why we need like this kind of like future dates, right? Next 90 days, even next year time range, like see how many things is going to happen. Of course, you can see the past, like last. Everything has its counterpart, like last and next, current, previous. This is a simple. One scene covers all. It's just all time. It covers everything. Like no matter how many data you have back to 10 years ago, or you have projections 10 years later, and it will cover everything. This single macro does. Another thing to notice that like for custom is basically you specify specific time, right? It's not a macro. Means when you use it in a programming way, like in your page block, they don't dynamic change. They just use literal value, for example, November once. So this macro actually is very important. When you specify current months, it actually every time when you open that, it's actually just using the new time, right? Or a current quarter. If time changes to the next quarter, it will automatically change that. So it's not in the transaction page. I just want to mention that because this is like time component is super important. Wants to explain that. By the way, all right, let's look at a few other important things. Another thing I think is very important is it's a search. The search actually covers a lot of things. I mean, we have very advanced search filter. I will talk about it just right after this. But here it's basically give you very simple, convenient way. You can search any field, nearly any field, in the transactions. For example, I will give you a few examples, right? One example I can check. In this profile I have multiple accounts. So if I want to just see specific account, can I do that? For example, I want to focus on this Costco anywhere. This is basically a credit card name. So I can just type. As you can see, all my transactions are now just limited to this Costco card. All the transactions are related in this account. And I can also search the name. For example, I can search Tesla. Right, I can delete this. I can search Tesla. By the way, the words you type in is it's a case ignorant. Basically, we ignore the case. We don't treat it. It's uppercase or lowercase. So this is a second example. So you can match the name, and you can match the merchant name as well. For example, here this is happening on the Hammond. Let's search Hammond, right? Oh, sorry, Hammond. As you can see, I can basically find out these transactions. I can search even more interesting thing. For I had a trip to New York this week, so can I find the transactions related to New York? I mean, city for transactions is optional. Not all the transactions has that, but in case they have, you can search them out. Let's say New York. As you can see, I can find all the New York, transactions. Finding them out. I can find my transactions happened in Seattle. Oh, I don't have Seattle. Do I have Redmond? Like some cities, towns here. What about Kirkland? Yeah, I do have like Kirkland and Fernmeyer. I have that, right? So this is about the searching. Of course, you can search some specific amount if you know the transaction. Let me just give you one example. For example, I have this. I remember I spent like $19, so I can just type 19.84, so you can find them out. So this search actually is fuzzy search, means anything in the transactions you can match them up and you can find it out. This gives you a way to quickly locate something you remember, and of course you can click them, open it. This is happening in Amazon, and again, do you remember? I just talked about the review thing. So this is a review icon, right? So if you think, oh, this is good, I have nothing. I don't need to split them, tag them, or change anything. They looks all great. So I can just like click that as a review. So now let's talk about the review function, right? So as you can see here, we have a review function, which is basically some of the transactions is already reviewed, let's say. So it's mixed up review, but I want to focus on the unreviewed only because I want to go through them and review them, right? So you can just toggle this on, and all the reviewed transactions will go away. What benefit is that is basically once you review them, you can basically, it will disappear from the filtered view, so you can just focus on how many, focus on shortening the list. For example, here I can, this one is I just like purchased some gift in the airport. Good. This is like insurance is all good. What is it? Oh, this is like credit card payment. It's all right. This is all right. This is for the charging. This is Amazon. I purchased something. I purchased a chess, so I know this and I mark it as real. Another insurance, and this is a wiring rental. This is my utility bill for electricity, and this is what I purchased in Fort Mile. I'm in grocery shopping. So right, okay, I mark it as this is the coaching fee for the badminton for the kid, and this is credit card payment, basically how much I spend with Apple Card. And this is AT&T phone bill. As you can see, I can literally driving down the list to empty for current month. So if you keep doing this every month, you can, it's very, very good. And this is my HP printer. All right. So now I reviewed all of them. Basically, my task is done. I uncheck this. I will show all the transactions in review state now. All right. Another thing is, it's maybe helpful is basically you can just sorting by the amount, which is, oh, by the way, these sections we call it shortcuts, right? It's something like filter, like functions, but not like other filters. They are shortcuts. They have specific meaning. For example, I want to see for current months, 14 days, all my transactions, how they charting like. It's basically like simple instant charting analysis. So you can see distributed by cash flow, my total expense is this much, and distribution by cash flow, transfer expense versus category. Oh, this is actually category, yes. Credit card payment is majority. It's for the last month, right? And then you can see by merchant, the largest expense is the printer. It's a new printer. And it's phone bill. This is Apple Card. It's how much I usually use my phone to pay. This is one shortcut. The second shortcut is basically, I was talking about this sorting by amount, right? So you can see largest expense to largest income, like in this list, which give you kind of like sorted list. As you can see, it's not grouped by date anymore. Instead, it's sorted by the amount. So you can spot out what is the biggest expenses I have in this month so far, or what is my biggest income. So this gives you a quick way to do see that. I think that's it. And and this is very important, right? If you use this function is reconcile. It's basically you have upcoming, you have recurring transactions, upcoming transactions managed in the schedule, right? You have schedules, you have, you see all the upcoming payment in each day. And this schedule you set up, you say, hey, one day, every month, how much I'm going to pay for this insurance, how much I'm going to pay for this, finance, or how much do I pay phone, all these things. But they are not real, right? They just give you projection. So reconcile basically means, let me go back here. Reconcile basically means your future payment will matched by a real transactions, and then you need to reconcile it because you don't want them show up as double, right? So what will the system found? You can just click this link and you can see this is the $50 detected. One is recurring schedule transactions, which is added to my transaction list. The other one is basically the real one, and Fina found the match. Sometimes the match may be multiple ones, right? If you have a lot of recurring transactions, you can just check this, click reconcile. Basically, it means it's just like saying, hey, the placeholder one, the pre-made one, will not used anymore. I can delete them, right? So you can just do the reconcile. And everything is done. That one will be will be resolved, and data is it's automatically get refreshed. By the way, Fina has very active data checking. Unlike other system, it's basically every single actions you made on Fina, it's trying to like scan the whole system to build integrity, right? It just make sure the rules working, make sure everything's get processed, so as you can see, you can completely rely on how accurate your data will be. So now you can see no more reconcile that icon just disappeared. All right, this one I don't need to mention because it's so obvious, right? You can see the total expense on this wheel so far, total income, total transfers, and the number of transactions you have. So lastly, before lastly, I want to mention, that I want to just quickly introduce these icons. So the icon for the add is basically manual transactions you want to add. Either you want to add them as recurring, which becomes a schedule, or you can just like add a single one, right? I project someday, just a one-time thing. I will be going to pay for that. I want to make sure my reporting reflect that, or my transaction list have in that. Then you can just like do that. Transaction names, amount, negative for expense, positive for income, always like that, and select categories, whatever account you want to associate with transactions, set up the merchant, mostly optional, and then save it, right? This is for the adding manual transactions, and you can do that, and you can also import, which is you want to connect with your Google spreadsheets. Like this is a more flexible way. You can just like manage them in batch, right? Not adding one by one, but in the spreadsheets you can, adding multiple lines at one time really quickly. And you can just like let Fina say, hey, Fina, sync with my spreadsheets work. So a lot of people ask before asking, why don't you support CSV import? I mean, it's definitely doable. We just don't want to complicate the case. If you're using Google Spreadsheets, Fina, securely access, your spreadsheets, from the system account. No human, access them at all, right? By the way, basically it just keeps syncing with that. No matter what kind of changes you made in your spreadsheets, it will automatically reflect in Fina system. This is like not double. I mean, it's just one way from spreadsheets to Fina, the syncing. With this sync, I mean, you can literally just like make a lot of changes in the spreadsheet very efficiently. So we're pursuing some productivity and efficiency here, basically. So just quickly answer the question. But in the future, we may want to add the CSV import support, but I personally don't think it's really unnecessary. Yeah, export of course is also a lot of people looking for. Is basically I filter all the transactions, no matter it's current month or it's current year, for tax reporting purpose. Let's say you want to handle something to your content. I mean, you either can share your workspace with people, right? You can share your workspace. By the way, you can share your workspace with people, so then they can basically just like access your workspace in a read-only way. They cannot change anything, but they can see all the things you have. That's another convenient way to share, but some people still choose the traditional way, which is export. Export will give you two basically format. One format is raw. It's just a transaction list, line by line. You just do the post processing by yourself. Another one is basically the raw up. This is a little bit more helpful if you have accurate data cleaning on Fina. You can basically just like export them as a CSV file, which is already have the sections grouped by merchant, by category, by date. So it's very accountant like kind of like friendly format. We're trying to make that easy for people too, so they can just like download and print or whatever and look. It's easy. Last icon is just a sync. Usually you don't need to do that because Fina already automatically, when you log in, when you open the page, it will automatically like sync latest data for you. But sometimes, just a few moments ago, I did some changes in my Google spreadsheets. I know there are some data transactions happened, and why it's not showing. Or I made some changes, some rules changes. I want to sync them. You can just click this button, and it will just like go through the the heavy lifting sync up process again. Just like checking all the data from all the points, go through the data, processing workflow and just show you this. All right, I think it's long talking already. Last one is filter. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time, but I just want to mention the concept here is very, very important. This gives you a lot of views, right? You can quickly to use this view as a filter set. Basically, you can save some filter as this name, or you can just quickly use this to filter out. For example, I have Alaska. I guess I don't have Alaska. Okay, all right. Let me choose another one. Ziply. Oh, this is a very old one. Credit card insurance. None of them. Why? Badminton should have. No, really? Oh man. Okay. Oh, this month is just too short. Let's just do the current quarter. I think that makes things much easier because a lot of things not happened yet. Okay, so here you can see if I choose a filter, I basically can using my pre-saved filter, you can see the filter automatically popped up to filter my transactions for review purpose or for checking, right? So it's easy for you to do that. If I want to just build in filter from scratch, I can just click filter, click default. This default basically is empty from scratch, and then you can say, oh, I want to name equal something. I want to add more filter like amount, in a range, or tag. Let's say tag equals something equals fate. Do I have any of them? No, I have tag equals future pay. I do have some future pay. This is a projection, by the way. So I can basically say, hey, this I can basically save this. Okay, category, let's say account. I was wondering why this one is not has saved it for me. So let me try the category then. Category business income and dividend, whatever, subscriptions maybe. Let's see. Right, I can get all subscriptions as you can see here. Now I can save it, right? I can see all subscriptions in the current quarter. I mean, this one is actually excluded, so don't ignore that. So basically, you can say this is all my subscriptions, right? All my subscriptions. I can save it. As you can see, when I close this, I go back to the the all full list for the whole quarter. But now, because I just saved this, it will comes to this list. This is very convenient for us, right? So basically, you can just click it, apply the subscriptions. You can see all the subscription related transactions. This is a very, very quick way for you to do that. So spend a little bit of time, maybe 2 minutes, to learn this filter thing. This is your list, your personalized list. It's very, very easy. All right, I want to stop here. I think it's already more than the time I planned, because there's a lot of things I want to share with you. So hopefully it's useful, and thanks for keep updating, keep in syncing with all updates for this for this video series. Thank you so much. Bye for now.